The morning started like any other day until the sky turned black. Commander Jake Morrison stood on the space station Aurora, watching his computer screen fill with dots. 9,900 alien ships appeared in Earth's sky. Each ship was as big as a city block. "Sir, the aliens are trying to talk to us," said Lieutenant Amy Carter. Her hands shook as she worked at her station. "They call themselves the Hegemony Coalition. They want us to give up our armies and our governments. Right now." Jake looked at the alien ships through the big window. The ships were dark and scary looking. They had many weapons that his computers could not understand. These weapons were different from anything humans had ever seen before. "What does Washington say?" Jake asked. But he could see from everyone's faces that the news was bad. "The president is having an emergency meeting," Amy said. "But sir, our scans show that each alien ship can destroy a whole city. We are facing something that could wipe us all out." The aliens had picked the perfect time to attack. Earth's armies were weak right now. 3 big countries were having peace talks, so most of their warships were parked and not ready to fight. The space stations only had small crews working on them. It should have been easy for the aliens to take over Earth. But the aliens did not know humans very well. As the time limit for surrender got closer, something strange happened at every military base on Earth and in space. Nobody gave up, nobody ran away. From Private Lisa Brown working at an anti-aircraft gun in Korea to Admiral Frank Ross leading the Pacific Fleet, everyone said the same thing: "We will fight." The aliens attacked at sunrise on the second day. Their ships started shooting at big cities, thinking humans would quickly give up. But they found out something important about humans. For millions of years, humans had fought everything that tried to kill them. Humans had fought giant tigers, bears, other humans, and anything else that was dangerous. All this fighting had made humans very good at war. The first alien attack hit New York City. Giant beams of energy struck the tallest buildings, turning them into dust. But instead of panic, something else happened. People started fighting back. Police officers grabbed their guns and shot at alien aircraft flying low over the streets. Soldiers set up missile launchers on rooftops. Even normal people picked up hunting rifles and started shooting. Captain Mike Davis was flying his fighter jet over the city when the attack started. He saw hundreds of small alien ships swooping down to attack people on the ground. His jet was old and his weapons were simple compared to alien technology. But Mike had something the aliens did not expect. "All pilots, listen up," Mike said over his radio. "We might not have their fancy weapons, but we know how to fight dirty. Follow my lead." Mike flew his jet straight at an alien ship that was 3 times bigger than his plane. At the last second, he fired all his missiles and pulled up hard. The alien ship's shield stopped most of the damage, but the explosion was enough to knock the alien pilot off course. The alien ship crashed into a building. Other human pilots saw what Mike did and started copying him. They used their jets like flying bombs, getting as close as possible before firing everything they had. Many human pilots died, but they took alien ships with them. On the ground, Sergeant Kelly Murphy was leading a squad of soldiers through the ruined streets of New York. She carried an old sniper rifle that her grandfather had used in World War III. The rifle used regular bullets, not energy beams like the newer weapons. Kelly saw an alien soldier walking down the street. The alien was tall and thin, wearing armor that glowed with energy shields. Kelly aimed her rifle and fired. The bullet went right through the alien's shield and armor like they were made of paper. "Did you see that?" Kelly shouted to her squad. "Their fancy shields don't stop bullets." Kelly's discovery spread quickly through the human forces. Within hours, soldiers everywhere were learning that old-style guns with bullets worked better against the aliens than modern energy weapons. Factories that made laser guns started making regular guns instead. But the real surprise came from space. Commander Lisa Park was in charge of what was left of the Asian Defense Fleet. Her ships were badly damaged and almost out of ammunition. Most of her crew was dead or wounded. But Lisa had an idea that no alien had ever thought of. "This is Commander Park to all remaining ships," she said over the radio. "We're out of weapons, but we still have engines. Set course for the alien. Command ship, maximum speed." Lisa's flagship, the Soul, was a mile-long warship that weighed millions of tons. When it hit the alien command ship at half the speed of light, Both ships exploded in a ball of fire that could be seen from Earth. Other human commanders saw what Lisa did and started doing the same thing. When their weapons stopped working, they used their ships as giant bullets. The aliens had never fought anyone crazy enough to turn their own ships into weapons. By the end of the first week, the aliens realized they had made a big mistake. Humans did not fight like other species. Other species gave up when they were losing. Humans got angry and fought harder. Other species tried to save their ships and soldiers. Humans threw everything they had at the enemy, even if it meant dying. The alien commander Zephox stood on his command ship looking at the reports from Earth. In 1 week of fighting, the Hegemony Coalition had lost over 1,000 ships. They had destroyed many human cities, but the humans kept fighting. Worse, the humans were learning how to fight aliens better every day. "Sir," said his assistant, "the humans are not behaving like our models predicted. They should have surrendered by now." Zephox looked at the burning planet below. He had conquered 47 worlds for the hegemony. Every other species had given up when they saw how powerful the alien fleet was, but humans were different. The more aliens they killed, the angrier they got. The more cities the aliens destroyed, the harder humans fought back. "Send a message to the Hegemony Council," Zephox said. "Tell them we may need more ships." Captain Ben Torres flew his fighter jet toward the alien ships over Los Angeles. He knew he would probably die today, but he was not scared. Around him, 47 other pilots flew their jets as fast as they could go. Their small jets were nothing compared to the giant alien ships that could destroy whole mountains. "Listen up, everyone," Ben said over the radio. "We are not trying to win this fight. We are trying to make them pay a big price for every inch of our planet." The human plan was simple but deadly. Humans could not build weapons as good as alien weapons, but they could make the war so expensive that the aliens would think twice before attacking other worlds. Every human base became a fortress. Every time humans had to retreat, they set traps. Every time humans lost a battle, they learned something new for the next fight. Ben led his squadron straight at the biggest alien ship. It was 10 times bigger than his jet, covered in weapons and shields. But Ben had learned something important in the past 2 weeks. Alien shields were made to stop energy beams and lasers. They were not very good at stopping solid objects moving. "Very fast. Fire everything and ram them," Ben shouted. The 48 human jets fired all their missiles and then flew straight at the alien ship. The alien shields stopped most of the missiles, but they could not stop the jets themselves. 48 jets hit the alien ship like bullets hitting a wall. The ship's hull cracked and started leaking air and fuel. Ben's last sight was the alien ship spinning out of control toward the ground. Down on the ground in Los Angeles, Sergeant Tony Green was fighting alien soldiers in the ruined streets. The aliens were tall and thin, wearing armor that glowed with energy shields. Tony had an old hunting rifle that his father gave him. It was not fancy, but it used regular bullets instead of energy beams. Tony saw an alien soldier walking toward a group of hiding children. Tony aimed his rifle and fired. The bullet went right through the alien's shield and armor. The alien fell down dead. "Hey, everyone," Tony shouted to the other soldiers. "Regular bullets work better than laser guns." This news spread to human soldiers everywhere. Within hours, every factory on Earth stopped making energy weapons and started making regular guns and bullets. Soldiers threw away their laser rifles and picked up old machine guns and rifles. Even civilians joined the fight with hunting rifles and shotguns. The aliens had never seen anything like this. On every other world they conquered, the local people used energy weapons just like the aliens did. The alien shields were built to stop those weapons. But humans still used old-style guns that fired metal bullets, and these went right through alien defenses. In space, Commander Sarah Wilson was leading the last ships of the European Defense Fleet. Her ships were badly damaged and almost out of ammunition. Most of her crew was dead. But Sarah had watched Commander Lisa Park ram her ship into an alien vessel, and she had an idea. "All ships, this is Wilson," she said over the radio. "We are out of weapons, but we still have engines and fuel. Let's show these aliens what humans do when we have nothing left to lose." Sarah's ship, the London, was a heavy cruiser that weighed 5 million tons. She aimed it at the alien mothership and pushed the engines to maximum power. The ship accelerated toward the alien vessel like a giant bullet. "This is for Earth," Sarah shouted as her ship hit the alien mothership at incredible speed. The explosion was so bright it could be seen from the ground. Both ships were destroyed, but the alien mothership had been the command center for 50 smaller ships. When it died, those 50 ships lost their orders and started flying around in confusion. Other human commanders saw what Sarah did and started doing the same thing. When human ships ran out of weapons, they became weapons themselves. The aliens had never fought anyone crazy enough to use their own ships as missiles. On the ground, humans were learning to fight aliens in ways the aliens never expected. Private Jenny Clark discovered that alien soldiers could not see very well in the dark. She started leading night attacks using only knives and clubs. The aliens' high-tech equipment was useless against humans crawling through shadows with simple weapons. Corporal Dave Martinez found out that alien aircraft could not fly well in bad weather. He started setting up ambushes during rainstorms and snowstorms. When alien ships came down low to see through the clouds, Dave's team would shoot them down with shoulder-fired rockets. The aliens were getting frustrated. They had conquered 47 other worlds without any trouble. Those other species gave up when they saw how powerful the alien fleet was. But humans were different. The more aliens killed humans, the angrier humans got. The more cities aliens destroyed, the harder humans fought back. Alien Commander Zephox looked at his battle reports and felt worried for the first time in his career. In 2 weeks of fighting, the Hegemony Coalition had lost over 2,000 ships. They had destroyed many human cities, but humans kept fighting. Worse, humans were getting better at killing aliens every day. "Sir," said his assistant, "maybe we should ask for more ships from the home fleet." Zephox nodded. These humans were not like any enemy he had ever fought. They did not fight to win. They fought to make sure their enemies paid the highest price possible. And they were very, very good at making enemies pay. Dr. Peter Hayes was not a soldier, but after 3 weeks of war, he found himself cutting open dead aliens in a bunker under the ruins of Chicago. What he found changed everything about how humans saw their enemy. They are not real warriors, Peter told the military leaders over a secret radio call. These aliens are like office workers. They are accountants and clerks. They belong to a big space empire that has never had to really fight for anything. This news explained why the aliens fought in such a predictable way. They followed rules and plans that had worked on dozens of other worlds, but those other worlds had given up when they saw how powerful the alien fleet was. None of those worlds had fought back with the crazy ideas that humans were using. Colonel Danny Wright was leading the resistance fighters in the forests of Washington state. He used the aliens' rule-following nature against them. Danny's people would pretend to surrender, and when alien ships came down to accept the surrender, human soldiers would attack them with hidden weapons. The aliens always do the same thing, Danny told his fighters. They follow their rule book exactly, so we can predict what they will do and set traps for them. Danny's traps worked perfectly. He would have his people fake a retreat, and the EO aliens would chase them into valleys where human soldiers were waiting with rocket launchers. The aliens fell for the same trick over and over because their rulebook said to chase retreating enemies. Meanwhile, Captain Rick Chen was studying captured alien technology in a secret lab under New York City. Rick was a computer expert, and he discovered something very important about how alien ships worked. All their ships are connected by a big computer network, Rick explained to the Emergency War Council. They share information instantly, which is why they can work together so well. But every computer network has weaknesses. Rick had found a way to attack the alien computer system. If humans could put a virus into the alien network, they might be able to turn the aliens' greatest strength into their biggest weakness. "We need to get inside one of their biggest ships and plant this virus," Rick said. "But whoever does this mission will probably not come back alive." Even though everyone knew it was a suicide mission, volunteers lined up to do it. Staff Sergeant Julie Brooks was chosen to lead the team. She picked 7 of the best soldiers she could find. They would sneak onto an alien mothership, plant the virus, and try to escape. Julie's team used a captured alien shuttle to fly up to the huge mothership. The alien ship was 5 miles long and looked like a floating city. Getting inside was Easier than they expected because the aliens thought all human aircraft had been destroyed. Once inside the alien ship, Julie's team saw something that made them angry. The ship was full of thousands of creatures from many different worlds. These were not aliens working for the hegemony. These were slaves forced to work on the alien ships. "Look at this," whispered Sergeant Bob Taylor, one of Julie's team members. "These aliens are not just conquerors. They are slave masters." Julie saw creatures that looked like giant insects, others that looked like walking trees, and some that looked almost human. All of them wore metal collars around their necks. All of them looked scared and tired. The Hegemony Coalition was not just taking over worlds. They were stealing people from those worlds and making them into slaves. "Change of plans," Julie told her team over their radio. "We are not just planting a virus, we are starting a revolution." Julie's team split up. Half of them went to plant the virus in the ship's main computer. The other half went to free the slaves and give them weapons. The slaves were eager to fight back against their masters once they realized humans were there to help them. The virus worked even better than Rick had hoped. Within minutes of being planted, it spread through the alien computer network like wildfire. Alien ships started losing control of their weapons and engines, but the real surprise was what happened next. All across the alien fleet, enslaved creatures began fighting back against their hegemony masters. The creatures that looked like insects used their sharp claws to cut alien throats. The tree-like creatures used their strong branches to crush alien skulls. The almost human slaves grabbed alien weapons and started shooting their former masters. On the alien mothership, Julie watched as hundreds of slaves overpowered their guards and took control of different parts of the ship. The aliens had never planned for a slave revolt. Their rulebook did not tell them what to do when their own workers turned against them. "This is Sergeant Brooks to all human forces," Julie radioed. "The alien fleet is tearing itself apart. The virus worked and the slaves are fighting back. Now is our chance to hit them while they are confused." All over Earth and in space, human commanders heard Julie's message and launched attacks on the confused alien ships. Alien vessels that had been perfectly coordinated were now fighting each other as different slave species tried to take control. General Carl Johnson, commanding human forces from a bunker in Colorado, watched his battle screens with amazement. In just a few hours, the situation had completely changed. The alien fleet was destroying itself from the inside. "Sir," reported Major Helen Davis, "we are getting reports from all over the world. Alien ships are crashing, exploding, or just flying away in random directions. Their whole fleet is falling apart." Carl smiled for the first time in weeks. The aliens had made a big mistake when they brought slaves with them. They thought the slaves would work quietly and obey orders. But when humans showed the slaves that they could fight back, everything changed. The war was not over yet, but for the first time since the aliens arrived, humans were winning. The virus spread through the alien fleet like a deadly disease. Within 6 hours of Staff Sergeant Julie Brooks planting it in the mothership's computer, chaos ruled the skies above Earth. Alien ships that had worked together perfectly were now fighting each other as enslaved creatures from dozens of worlds fought for their freedom. General Carl Johnson stood in his command bunker deep under the mountains of Colorado. His computer screen showed the battle raging in space above Earth. Of the original 900 alien ships that had come to conquer humanity, most were now dead in space or crashing to the ground in flames. "Sir, we are getting damage reports from all over the planet," said Major Helen Davis. "The alien fleet is destroying itself. Slave crews are taking over ships and using them to attack their former masters." Carl watched as 2 massive alien ships fired at each other with weapons that could destroy cities. One ship was controlled by the original alien crew. The other had been taken over by insect-like creatures that had been slaves for hundreds of years. The slaves were winning. On the alien mothership, Julie Brooks and her team were helping coordinate the slave rebellion. The ship was now under control of the freed slaves, and they were using its weapons to attack other hegemony vessels. "This is amazing," said Sergeant Bob Taylor, watching former slaves work together to operate alien weapons. "These creatures have been planning this rebellion for years. They just needed someone to give them a chance." Julie nodded as she watched a creature that looked like a walking tree, use its branches to operate controls that had been designed for alien hands. The hegemony made a big mistake bringing slaves to fight their wars. Now those slaves are free, and they are very angry. All across the alien fleet, the same thing was happening. Ships that had carried thousands of enslaved workers were now under the control of those workers. The former slaves knew exactly how to operate alien technology because they had been forced to maintain it for years. Captain Rick Chen, the computer expert who had created the virus, was monitoring the battle from his underground lab. His virus had done more than just disable alien computers. It had also unlocked the electronic collars that kept the slaves under control. "The virus is working perfectly," Rick reported to General Johnson. "Every alien ship that gets infected loses control of its slave crew, and the freed slaves are teaching other slaves how to fight back." But the war had cost humanity dearly. Most of Earth's great cities were in ruins. Billions of people were dead. The space stations that had protected Earth were now floating wreckage. Most of Earth's fleet had been destroyed in the fighting. Yet from this destruction, something new was being born. The enslaved creatures fighting alongside humans were not just fighting for freedom. They were fighting for revenge against the hegemony coalition that had stolen them from their home worlds. In space above Earth, the final battle was reaching its end. Alien Commander Z-Fox found himself trapped on his command ship with only 16 other vessels still under hegemony control. Around him, the rest of his once mighty fleet was either destroyed or in the hands of rebellious slaves. "Sir," said his assistant, "we are receiving surrender demands from the humans and the freed slaves. They want us to give up." Z-Fox looked at his tactical display. His 17 remaining ships were surrounded by hundreds of vessels now controlled by former slaves. The humans had somehow turned his own fleet against him. In all his years of conquest, he had never seen anything like this. General Johnson received the message from the surviving alien ships. They wanted to negotiate surrender terms. But Johnson had seen what the aliens had done to Earth's cities. He had seen the millions of dead humans in the streets. "Sir," said Major Davis, "the alien commander is asking for safe passage off the planet. He says they will never return if we let them go." Johnson thought about this for a long moment. He could order the destruction of the remaining alien ships. After what they had done to Earth, they deserved to die. But then he realized something important. "Let them go," Johnson said finally. "But make sure they understand the message they need to carry back to their masters." Johnson opened a communication channel to the alien commander. "This is General Johnson of Earth Defense Command. You came here with 9,900 ships to conquer our world. You killed billions of our people and destroyed our cities. But you failed. Only 17 of your ships are left alive." Z-Fox listened as the human general continued. "You will return to your hegemony masters and tell them what you found here. Tell them that Earth cannot be conquered. Tell them that humans do not surrender. Tell them that any species that tries to enslave us will face the same fate as your fleet." The 17 surviving alien ships began to leave Earth's solar system. They moved slowly, their hulls damaged, and their crews reduced to skeleton numbers. Behind them, they left a planet in ruins, but not defeated. Julie Brooks and her team were finally rescued from the alien mothership by human forces. As she stepped onto the rescue shuttle, she looked back at the massive alien vessel now controlled by freed slaves. "What will happen to them?" Julie asked, pointing at the former slaves. "They are going home," said the rescue pilot. "All of them. The freed slaves are taking the alien ships back to their homeworlds to free their families and friends who are still enslaved." Julie smiled. The war had been terrible, but something good was coming from it. Dozens of enslaved worlds would soon be free because humans had shown their slaves how to fight back. Years later, when the 17 surviving alien ships finally reached hegemony space, they carried a message that changed the galaxy. They told of a world where the people refused to surrender, where defeat only made them fight harder, and where they had turned the hegemony's own slaves against them. The hegemony coalition began to collapse as world after world rebelled. Inspired by the story of humanity's impossible victory, the enslaved creatures that humans had freed spread the word to other enslaved worlds. Freedom was possible if you were willing to fight for it. In the end, Earth's sacrifice had freed not just humanity, but countless other species across the HFY galaxy. The 17 ships that returned home had delivered exactly the message humanity intended. Some species were born to be free, and they would fight to ensure that freedom reached everyone. That was the most human thing of all.